Good morning, it's Des. No, it's good afternoon. Good afternoon. It's me, Rory Paddock for picksfromthepaddock.co.uk. Coming to you live. It's 12:40, Saturday, the 25th of Feb, and it's time for Best of the Rest. Now, what is Best of the Rest, I hear you ask? Best of the Rest is where we ignore all the racing on ITV. That's going to be covered to death. We've done that. It's on our app. All race previews, every single race that's going to be shown from, I think, Kenton, Lingfield and Newcastle. I think it's the Ida Chase today. That's all to one side. It's all been done. But if you want something a bit different, then that's what I'm here for. Best of the Rest, I look at the action away from the ITV cameras and hopefully pick out some decent selections that you, as punters and racing fans, can get stuck into. So I've got 5 for today. All decent prices. I think one is as big as 25 to 1 best odds as it stands at the moment. So without further ado, let's get stuck into it with my first selection. There we go. First selection, it comes at Fairy House. It's the 210. And I have gone for John W. Creasy. Currently, best price of 9 to 1. Wasn't the best, I've got to be honest, in 2 point-to-point starts recently. But based on his sole effort under rules, it's definitely worth keeping an eye on. It's a tentative selection, I'll give you that, but finished 5th in what looked a really hot National Hunt flat race here at Fairy House. Back to this venue, over the smaller obstacles, and when it's represented by Team Mullins, albeit Danny and Margaret there, you've got to give the horse plenty of respect. 9 to 1 in what looks an okay sort of hurdle race. Nothing that's going to necessarily blow us away. But I think 9 to 1 will take a bit of that. And hopefully, John W. Creasy goes well in the 210 at Fairy House. Just half an hour later, we're going to take on the all-weather. And it's the 240 at Lingfield. And I've gone for Intuitive. Simon and Ed Crisford trained horse. Easy for you to say. And I just think 16 to 1 for this horse is absolutely massive. Now, so unless one of you can enlighten me and this horse has either lost a leg at some point in the last sort of few days, I cannot for the life of me understand why it is 16 to 1. 7-year-old, it looks to have a really decent chance. Decent draw in stall 1. Hails from a top yard. Dual course and distance winner. Last winning mark was 105. It races off a £5 lower mark today, so it's got weight on its side. Has a crack claimer. Harry Burns in the saddle takes off £3. I just can't see it going off at 16 to 1 unless there's some massive issue that I've missed. And don't get me wrong, I missed plenty, I'm sure. Then I just don't think it'll go off at 16 to 1. Get that price now. And I just think that by the time it's 240, it'll be much shorter. Intuitive to do a lot better than the bookies suggest in the 240 at Lingers. We then head back to Ferry House, back over to Ireland. The 320 is a really big, I think it's about 20 odd runner handicap. But I've gone for Wee Charlie. 25 to 1, I'll certainly take a little bit of that. The horse might still be a maiden, but it did catch my eye last time out. I backed the horse personally. Didn't have the best looking running, but despite that, still managed to sort of plug on for 5th in what was, I think it was a 18 runner handicap, something like that. So 5th was a very credible effort. This looks a more competitive race than the one that it finished 5th in last time. So perhaps a tentative approach with this. So you've got to sort of approach this selection with a degree of caution. But at 25 to 1 is worth a shot to finish in the money. And I think it's one of those bets that you're not going to be remortgaging the house on. But you know what? For a bit of interest, a bit of each way play, Wee Charlie, 25 to 1. Maybe, just maybe, today's the day it shakes off its maiden tag. Who knows? So Wee Charlie for me, there in the 320 at Fairy House. Back to the UK, however, we're going to head to Wales. Chepstow is the home of Welsh National Hunt Racing, and I've gone for the Rebecca Curtis trained Mr. Katanga. The horse won this race last year, and despite the fact that it's shown sort of like a mixed bag of form since then, it now returns to win the race once again off a £5 lower mark. Actually, no, stand corrected, a £3 lower mark this time around. Rebecca Curtis perhaps doesn't have the firepower in the yard that she once did with the likes of O'Phelan's boy, who used to be a superstar and a former Cheltenham Festival winner. But the Welsh trainer will certainly want to get a handful of winners, especially here at, like I said, at Wales's Premier Jumps course. Rebecca Curtis trained Mr. Katanga, currently best price 7-1, to go well in the race it won off a higher mark last year. And finally, the fifth and final selection, we have to wait for the evening meeting on the all-weather at Chelmsford, and I've gone for the McAppleby trained Come On Girl. Every single horse in this race, I think it's a 5-runner race, is above their last winning mark. However, Come On Girl is perhaps the closest to their last winning mark. I think it's only £1 above it off a mark of 60. Last one off a mark of 59. She's been knocking on the door and pretty consistent of late without actually winning. And I'm hoping today should be the day that she gets herself back into the winner's enclosure. Come On Girl, relatively generous price for a 5-runner race to go well at 4-1 in the 6 tonight. So those are my 5 selections for Saturday, the 25th of February. I'm personally going to be putting them in an each way lucky 31. You've got John W. Creasy in the 210 at Ferryhouse, Intuitive in the 240 at Lingers, Wee Charlie back over in Ireland in the 320, Mr. Katanga to go well in the 417, and Come On Girl to do the business in the 6 tonight. I'm also going to be doing these in trebles, 4-folds and 5-folds. I personally back them with Paddy Power. The bet itself, if you're looking for it, you click on the race, and the bet itself is top finish, and it'll give you either top 3, top 4, top 5, top 6. In this case, in the 320 at Ferryhouse, because of the numbers of runners, they've given top 7 finish. But again, John W. Creasy to finish in the top 5 at 8-13, Intuitive to finish in the top 4, 7-5, Wee Charlie for a top 7 finish at 15-8, Mr. Katanga for a top 6 finish at 8-15, and Come On Girl to finish in the top 2 at 5-6. Again, I'm going to be backing them in trebles, 4-folds, and the 5-fold accumulator. Now, one thing I need to let you know before you go, if you haven't downloaded our app, then make sure you do. But also, please go and follow us over on TikTok. It's Pix Paddock, that's our username, and it'd be a massive help if you could do, simply because once we hit a certain number of followers, what we're going to try and do is do a live daily show where we can interact with you guys, myself and other members of the team. You can fire your questions in, watch a bit of racing with us, and provide you with additional content. But in order to do that, we need to increase our following. So the only way that we can ensure we get that extra content is you go over there, click follow us, and that's all we ask of you to do. Once we hit that target number, then we'll be able to provide extra content, as always, completely free of charge. But also, as always, remember, any likes, comments, and shares, very much welcome and appreciated. Pop in the comments your best bets for this Saturday, and fingers crossed, touch wood, and good luck if you follow.